Okay, Christina, what I'm going to do is just read your biography as you kind of sent it to me.
Oh, wait,
and then
wait,
I'll let you.
Muriel, I haven't started streaming yet, so let me
Wait,
know when
wait.
you guys want.
Yeah, I'm just giving her the rundown before we go
Oh,
live.
okay,
Yeah,
great. Okay, I
yeah.
wasn't sure.
So,
Okay.
yeah, Christina, I'm just going to introduce you and then let you kind of talk on Kansas, the state of Kansas, and some legislation pieces. So, yeah, go ahead. We can get started now, Jason. I'm ready.
Okay. Should be streaming shortly here.
Okay, that's in room C, right?
A.
Oh, okay. Let me get there.
Yep, I'm always session A. So.
Got it. Okay, so it looks like we're live. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We, again, have a really good presentation today. We have Christina Haswood out of Kansas. She is a representative out of House District 10, which covers Douglas County and Lawrence and Baldwin City. So around the Lawrence, Kansas area, if anybody went to Haskell, this is where she's going to be coming out of. She is the Dine, and she grew up around Haskell Indian Nations University around Lawrence. She got her degree from the University of Kansas Medical Center, and she has her master's in public education. She currently sits on the Water and Health and Service Committee, and on the Joint Committee of State and Tribal Relations. So I'll let her kind of give us an update on some regulatory issues in Kansas and what she's been working on. So it's all yours, Christina.
Thank you so much. My name is, again, Representative Christina Haswood. I'm so great to be here. I am Dine, Navajo from the Navajo Nation. Christina Haswood, the Nation, Twilight Nation, the Bethlehem, Bashashti, Nash, Tabaha, the Shacheki, Anya Chanela. So my name is Christina Haswood. I'm Bitterwater, born for the Black Sheep. My maternal grandparents are the Zuni Edgewater. My paternal grandparents are Taring House people. That's who I am as a Navajo young woman. So there are a couple of pieces of medical cannabis legislation in the Kansas legislature. And one of the probably most known one is with our Governor Kelly. And her plan is to try to expand Medicaid expansion through the legalization of medical cannabis. And that was just kind of her leveraging tool, because this idea of medical cannabis is becoming a lot more popular within the Republican Party. And we all support that piece of legislation and that plan to go forward. To my understanding, it hasn't really made much of a debut in the Kansas legislature. There's a lot of other issues that we've been focusing on, mainly the unemployment system, and then K through 12 education in our budget. So right now in the Kansas legislature this week, we actually just got done being on the floor all day. So what that means is that we passed out, I believe I counted about 52 bills this week. We would come in the morning, and sometimes, I think it was Wednesday was probably our longest day, where we got out like 7 p.m. And everything on the House side that didn't get to the House floor is considered dead unless it's been blessed. So they did just release this morning a list of 20 or so bills that have been blessed, where it will be put into a committee and hopefully getting another chance to pass out this session. On the Senate side, I can't speak for them. They're on a different schedule. But for us on the House side, after this week, so we're pro forma this week, which means that we're not going to be meeting, and we get kind of like a break on Monday and Tuesday. And after that, we'll continue with the turnaround period, which means that we'll be working on bills that have been blessed, but also we'll be working on Senate bills that passed out through the Senate and have been designated to the respective committee. Again, I'm on Water Committee, Health and Human Services, Agriculture, and State and Relations, Tribal Relations, where we should be meeting on Wednesday. So I actually was able to get the ball rolling on full legalization of cannabis in Kansas, and this was a pretty big task. We started this probably in January, and it was, an idea that a lot of us younger Dems had. And kind of mentioned it casually in passing to the younger Republicans, and they were just not for it. So we kind of kept it on the down low with us young Dems. On it is me, Representative Brandon Woodard, Representative Reese Shue, Representative Lindsey Vaughn, Representative Brett Parker. And they kind of had me take on this as the lead role in this. And it turned out to be about a 90-page document. And I have I don't know if you can see, but it's pretty thick. And I just received kind of like the final draft of it, and it's about 59 sections. A lot of this bill is reflected from Colorado's language of their full cannabis legalization to recreational use. This is what this bill is trying to focus on. So we did introduce this bill as an RS number, which means that it has this form already, but it's not completely polished and finished. Still working with the reviser. He hopes to get this done by sometime next week. So we do have the RS number, which is 21 RS 0869. It was introduced into the House Federal State Committee about maybe a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks by now. And it didn't really pick up much media or much wind. I think everyone's kind of more excited for that first step of medical cannabis and getting the ball rolling on that. But we actually believe that we should just go ahead and go on the full recreational and making sure that we collect that tax revenue for our state general fund so we can fund our education, our K-12 education. We can fund our other programs that really need this type of revenue funding at the moment. This was a very challenging task because there's a lot of questions, and Kansas, you can imagine, does a lot of things different than Colorado. So there was a lot of back and forth with the reviser, and the reviser's department too. So they're actually the lawyers that work in the Kansas legislature, and they're the ones that draft up the law language. So a lot of times we go to them with a bill idea. I came to them with this bill idea and a direction to kind of draft up some language. So we would like to model things off of Colorado. So they would kind of piece things together and ask me the questions of, okay, like, how do we want this regulated in Kansas? Like in Colorado, it's regulated under this department or agency. Here we have something similar. So we kind of have in the language a lot of things regulated towards the alcohol beverage consumption ABC agency department, and making sure that we kind of reflect the way that Kansas handles alcohol and tobacco to make it sort of similar with this bill of full cannabis legalization. And, I chose this path because I think it would get more Kansans comfortable that this is a whole new idea. And it doesn't have to be that complicated. We can easily add it into the systems that we have already. We can build on it, we can modify it, we can mold it to what's best for our state and our communities. So with that, I look forward to seeing this bill come alive. It will probably be, fully ready to go by next year. So we do plan on reintroducing this and probably giving its full time in the spotlight. And it's something I'm really excited about because we also have the 4 tribes of Kansas as well. And to my understanding, they're pretty excited about this. Kansas itself is an agricultural state, and the 4 tribes of Kansas do a great job with their agriculture. And I believe one of them, it's the Sac and Fox Nation, has the hemp production licensing. And that's extremely exciting. And just to see something like this, and if it gets with tribal sovereignty, and it would be great for their economic systems, but also it's a growing industry with younger people. And that's one of the things that Kansas struggles on, is keeping young people, young Kansans in Kansas, or if they come to one of our universities, how do we keep that young talent here? So this is something that I look forward to helping and adding into the conversation of our economics. A couple of legislation I quickly looked up. So there was HB 2244, which came out of the House Agricultural Committee. It's establishing requirements for the effective disposal of industrial hemp and requiring industrial hemp processors to register with the state fire marshal. So this ended up passing in House Committee. There were some issues that arose during the hearing and during when we were working this bill. some of my colleagues expressed the concerns of just how complicated hemp production and how regulated hemp production is in the state of Kansas, or maybe just around the country. And they did not fully support so many of those regulations. But I supported it. It was something that I believe will help smooth over a lot of regulations for farmers who do industrial hemp production. It was also an interesting conversation, and let's see. So another important thing to highlight in this legislation that it would increase the cap on registration fees from $200 to $1,000, and that was alarming to most conservatives, raising a cap on a fee. And that's because this adds more responsibilities to the fire marshal's department. It would add more training and more workers. Also would be the fingerprinting and state national criminal history. So that bill is HB 2244, passed out of House Committee. It passed out into the House chamber, and that was 97 to 27. So 97 people supported it, 27 people opposed of the bill when it came to the House chamber. So it had a constitutional majority, and it passed out of the House chamber. Now it's on the Senate side of the Agricultural and Natural Resources Committee. So they will be, I haven't seen any movement on that. So hopefully they'll be working more on that during the second half of this session. There's also HB 2184, which is in the House of Federal and State Committee. It's creating the Kansas Medical Marijuana Regulation Act. It was introduced on February 1st, and it had its hearings on February 24th to 25th. So I'm not on that committee, so I'm just reading what I found on the website and some media articles. But I am not too sure if this was one of the bills that got blessed. So I'm really curious to see where the progression of this bill would go and move forward to. And I think there's one more bill that I'm forgetting. And if anybody wants to, shout it out, that'd be amazing as well. But that is just pretty much what's happening at the Kansas legislature with cannabis. And it's a growing conversation. It's really hopeful to see the conversation continue and to, not have its stereotypes tied into it, or I haven't really heard of any racial remarks tied to it. It's being moved forward in the direction of this will help our economy. This is, Kansas is one of the last several states to even have some sort of legalization of cannabis for research at the bare minimum to all the way recreational. So a lot of us young people are extremely tired of Kansas always coming last for a lot of these exciting new industries. I also believe that it would do well with the agricultural industry, and we'll have more young people coming to Kansas State University, which is a top-ranked agricultural school, and have that ideas and that fresh voice and perspective and energy to create that type of field and industry here in the state of Kansas. I already hear, some of my people I went to high school with going to the cannabis industry, but in Missouri or in Colorado. So I already see that at my peer level. So this is something I look forward to continue moving forward, move the ball rolling, and continue to supporting.
Wow, Christina, I just want to thank you for all of the amazing work you're doing, and to be one of the, one of the very few Indigenous legislators out there, is taking a stand, stepping up where it's needed, and giving us representation. I like to refer to you as our Deb Haaland. You're our Deb Haaland of our state. And I definitely wanted to bring you on this conversation because, hemp and cannabis, they're only divided by law, but they are one plant. And I want to thank you for advocating for this. Some of the questions that I have are, how do we get more young people involved? How do we get some of these laws changed, even at a tribal level? So just for you to be more involved in that process, it's really good to see. And I want to thank you for that.
Thank you so much for the comments. She's, Congresswoman Holland's definitely one of my biggest role models, especially with her new job hopefully coming up. And
absolutely.
I think the biggest barrier is the stigma of cannabis, and I think that narrative is extremely harmful, and
Yeah.
especially with people of color too. And I think a big part of the conversation is the criminal justice system.
Hmm.
And I know it's really frustrating for me with this like legalization of recreational cannabis in my bill. The conversation of um, getting those people who were incarcerated because of cannabis out of incarceration is a whole different can of worms. Like in theory, they go together, and if we add that in our bill, that's a whole nother fight. And that's kind of something I'm learning. Like, this is something we want to do the expungement of it, and how do we frame that conversation? Because in the Kansas legislature, Democrats are the super minority, so we don't have any votes to do um, pretty much anything. And the politics of it, the moderate Republicans, they have been all voted out, and they've been replaced with more conservative Republicans. So that's why when you saw like HB 2244, the establishment of industrial hemp and that more of regulation with the fire marshals, there are 27 people who opposed it, and those individuals are more of on the conservative side of political views. So I think really trying to work those conversations. At the tribal level, I haven't met with the tribes and like heard from them of how they feel about this, but I can only, reflect on my time at Haskell and
Yeah.
how it has that kind of negativeness to it, where maybe a lot of students, had possession of cannabis and they got kicked out of the university, they got kicked out of their dorms. So I think really trying to have those conversations of more of a maturity. I think economics is a great driver of the conversation,
Hmm.
but also helping our industries and our future young talent.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Well, again, thank you for being a representative, because we don't see a lot of people at high levels, of Congress or even business. Me personally, it's very rare to see our women stepping up at these levels. So thank you so much. Thank you for the words that you have today. I don't have many other questions right now. We just kind of wanted an update. And as I work in Kansas, I definitely think the tribes there are very interested, and we're very tired of waiting for the state to move on this. So, there should be some sort of federal legalization. Maybe Deb Haaland could help us bring it to that federal level, because that's where tribes are gonna really, really receive their direction from, not really the state. Some tribes don't even want to listen to the state or mirror the state. So, federal legalization should be the next task, the next fight. Yep. And for that, I think we're just about wrapping up here. We got about 3 more minutes. We got a comment saying, great points, Miss Haswood. And we thank you for your work at those levels. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to message me, email me, if you have any ideas, talking points, I'd really much appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for your time today, Miss Haswood, and we will catch up again really soon.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.